Hello, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope that you are all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Heather, and here at Heather's Book Review, as you can take a quick peek behind me, I love to read and review primarily mysteries and thrillers, but I will read just about anything. You're gonna hear our dishwasher in the background making some weird noises because it's wrapping up its cycle. Also, my hair is like in mid-dry right now, ever since I had my son, like after I shower. It just dries like, I don't know, like this. It used to dry like pretty straight. So it's interesting. It's interesting how the body changes, my friends. Anyways, I'm here with my favorite video to film every month for the most part, which is my wrap up. So these are all of the books that I read or listened to in the month of September 2022. So before we get into the books, there are 6 of them. I did want to say that I asked you guys to help me pick my first Darcy Coates novel, and I ended up choosing The Haunting of Ashburn House. This is the one that I just was talked to the most about, and everyone just seems to really like it. So I'm super excited. I think I'm going to save this for like the week of Halloween because like it just definitely looks like the spookiest book that is going to be on my TBR October pile. So yeah, super excited about this one. I'm about halfway through the Book of Accidents, and that book is crazy and wild. I did not read the synopsis for it at all. So like I went into it really just not knowing what it was going to be. And like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know how much I'm loving it. And I know it's like a cult favorite, right? Like it's one of those. So we'll see. But it's also a massive dictionary of a book. And I'm only like halfway through. Okay, so I am going to start off with my 3 audiobooks that I listened to in the month of September. All of these are from Harper Audio. I listened to them on Libro FM. So a massive thank you to Harper Audio for gifting me these titles that I could listen to. Also, they were like all really good. So that would also like ended up being great. But yeah, so I listened to those on Libro FM. It's an app that I have on my phone, and I will link that in the description box for you guys. That is how I listen to these books from Harper. I found it super easy to like download these books, and just the app like works really well. I'm not having any glitches with it, which sometimes I've had with other apps and audiobooks before. So that's been really nice so far. I could definitely see myself like purchasing books on Libro FM in the future, but I also pay for the like Audible membership too. So we'll just see how it goes. But anyways, so the first book that I listened to and finished in September was The Couple at Number 9. This book was something that I really was eyeing. I just love any thrillers that like are centered around a couple. And I know that that's like a lot of the thrillers, but this one sounded intriguing because it's a young couple that's expecting a baby, and then they move into the wife's like family cottage that was just like in her family line, and they end up discovering dead bodies buried in the yard. And then the book basically just takes off from there. There are some past, present point of views, and then it's like the daughter's point of view and then her mom's point of view, but it's not hard to follow at all. On my rating scale, I am giving this an enjoyable read, and it's a 4-star for me. It was really good. I ended up loving some of the major twists that ended up happening near the end of the book, and overall, I just really enjoyed my experience with it. Also, I forgot to mention all of the books that I liked. I will link in the description box below for you like I do every month. The next book that I'm so happy I ended up liking because it's a Reese's book club pick. And if you've been here a minute, you know that I've literally liked like one of her book club picks. I don't know what the heck. I don't know why, but like typically I don't end up liking them. But this is Wrong Place, Wrong Time. This book I was seeing all over Goodreads. I was trying really hard to win an ARC from Goodreads. So I was entering like all these giveaways, didn't win one, then ended up getting the audiobook to listen to. So I was really excited. This is like I would categorize it as a sci-fi thriller because it is the description and the synopsis of the book tells you what it is. But basically it's like this mom sees her son commit this murder, if you will, and then she's like going back in time to try to stop it. So it's like this sci-fi thriller, time travel thriller kind of thing. And I didn't think I was gonna like love it, but I ended up really liking it. I also am giving this one an enjoyable read. Also ended up being a 4 stars for me. The thing that I love the most about this book is like when you put those sci-fi elements into a thriller as well, I feel like it gives you more freedom to like do some crazy shit, right? So knowing that it was like a sci-fi thriller, I was very much like, okay, anything can happen. Like it's not our stereotypical thriller. Like it also has these sci-fi elements in it. And I loved how like stuff ends up wrapping up at the end. And you're like, wait, I see the connections from like other parts of the book. And like, it's just so satisfying. I can't remember the last time I read a book and like used the adjective satisfying with it, but like, that's how this one feels when you're done reading it. I had a fabulous time reading it. The third and final book, courtesy of Harper Audio, was The Vicious Circle by Catherine St. John. Man, I was so excited to read this. I actually just finished this one this morning. And I was really excited because I loved The Lion's Den by this author. That is somewhere, I think up there, that like a bright orange one. I read that, I think like 2 or 3 summers ago. And then I think she has another book called The Sirens or something with sirens in the title. I haven't read that one yet. But this Vicious Circle, I was like, dang, I've been eyeing this. And it's basically a book about a cult in the middle of this like jungle. And our main character ends up like going to visit the people there for some reason. I don't want to say, but like she ends up going and then she's just like thrown in the middle of this like cultish chaos. And it's crazy. I will say I'm torn because I feel like my rating scale, I'm torn between decent but flawed and an enjoyable read, because I'm also torn with my star ratings. Like, is it a 3-star? Is it a 4-star? Or not a 4-star, is it a 3, 3.5? So it's like, I don't know. I'm struggling a little bit there, but I would say it's like in between those 2 books here on my rating scale, the yellow and the purple. Like, I don't know. And the reason I say that is because it does feel like a little been there, done that, in terms of like there are like a couple of cult thrillers out there. So it's like I felt like I knew what I was going to expect a little bit. And then the book kind of follows that way. Like you're reading it and you're like, okay, like I see what's going on. It's obvious what's going on. Like none of it's really thrilling. It's more of just like a suspense. So you're kind of along for the ride. And there are some good twists and turns in here. And I did appreciate how the book wrapped up as well. So that's why it's like, it was an enjoyable read for me. But the other 2 books that I've mentioned so far were like more of an enjoyable read. Now I feel like I'm just sounding confusing. So I guess to wrap up my thoughts on it, like it was good. I had a good time reading it, but like with the other 2, the couple at number 9 and Wrong Place, Wrong Time, I would say like read those because I'm pretty confident you guys would enjoy them. The Vicious Circle, I think it's like, I don't necessarily say like run out and get it, because I feel like some of you might be in the same boat of like, this feels like other thrillers I've read recently. Now we are getting on to my tangible books that I purchased all myself. So the first one is The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I have an entire non-spoiler review and read with me vlog video for this. I will link it up here for you. So I'm not going to spend a whole ton of time talking about this, other than didn't love it. It's a very disturbing book. It's not really a thriller. It's more of like a suspense. Again, kind of like cultish book. So I don't know what the heck was up with me in September, but I read 2 books about cults. And yeah, it just was disturbing. Didn't love it. I don't really, unfortunately, recommend it. I will say I seem to be in the majority of this. Everybody on Bookso was raving about it. I do love this author. Like, I follow her on Instagram. I think she's great. She seems just wonderful. And I loved In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by her. I have a video for that, which I will link up here as well. So I had high hopes for it, but it just fell flat and like wasn't for me. Speaking of thrillers with wife in the title, because I feel like they all have like wife, husband, couple, man, like the Whisper Man, the Chalk Man, the Chestnut Man. I read Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane. This was one of my cheap city finds. If you follow me on Instagram, we were in the city maybe like 2-3 months ago. And I went to a book resale shop and got a ton of stuff. So this was for $6.50 I got. And I get to add it to my book of the month shelves. If you're unfamiliar with book of the month, it is a book buying subscription where I think I pay $14.99 for a 1 month credit. Yes, I'm confused because I think like, oh my gosh, words. Okay, so like if you go through my referral link, I'm pretty sure your first box is $5. But then I thought I read somewhere where they were changing it to $9.99. And I was like, okay, still, like, that's not bad. But then this month, when I was picking my box, it was like, hey, refer a friend for $5. I was like, okay, like, are you guys back to $5? Were you ever at $9.99? Like, what is the deal? So I'm pretty sure it is $5 because I got an email from them in September that said refer a friend and they get it for $5. So anyways, if you're interested, you get to pick one book a month for your credit. And then if you want other books, they're just $10 add-on. So that's really sweet. So in the month of October, I chose The Family Game, like obsessed with this cover. I love the color scheme. And then I also chose the sequel to The Ex-Hex, which is The Kiss Curse. Maybe I'll put that on this side somewhere. I don't know. I'm thinking like already of editing this video. But yeah, so super excited about that. But yeah, that's what I chose for my October book of the month. So if you're interested, I will put my referral link in the description box below. But yes, I still get to add this, even though I didn't get it directly from Book of the Month, to my Book of the Month shelves. This is like very, very hard to rate. On my rating scale, I am gonna give it a decent but flawed. Yeah, it's weird. It's like the writing is so different to like what I'm used to. So like the writing is very like, you follow the same main character, but you don't feel like you know her at all. And then like the twists when they come, you're just like reading it and like all of a sudden it's there and you're like, oh, like that's not the route I thought this book was going. Does that make sense? Because that's how it feels. Like I can't think of another book that like felt this way when I was reading it, but like I didn't love it because I didn't really like enjoy the main character and I didn't love that like I couldn't really like peg her. But also I think she is supposed to be like an unreliable character, right? Like she is supposed to be an unreliable protagonist for the theme of the book and the plot of the book. Let me just read the synopsis because this one is hard to like give you just a short synopsis off of like the top of my head. So it says, shouldn't a dead husband stay dead? Lila Richfield lives in an idyllic college town, but not everything is what it seems. Lila isn't what she seems. A student vanished months ago. Now Lila's husband, Aaron, is also missing. At first, these cases are treated as horrible coincidences until it's discovered that the student is really the third of 3 unexplained disappearances, over the last few years. The police are desperate to find the connection. Little do they know they might be stumbling over only part of the truth. With the small town in an uproar, everyone is worried about the whereabouts of the beloved high school teacher. Everyone except his wife. Lila's more confused because she was the last person to see her husband's body and now it's gone. Okay, good. I'm glad I read that because yeah, that helps me be able to talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, okay, so that just confirms that she is supposed to be unreliable. But with that being said, like it was just kind of tough to read because I just felt like an outsider reading it the entire time. Like I couldn't really fully get engrossed in the story because you never really know what she's thinking. And then the ending is just like, it is kind of wild in a good way. Like I was like, whoa, okay. But then also there are like a ton of grammar mistakes in this. And like, if you're new here, I'm a teacher, so like I'm also kind of like, that's a pet peeve of mine. But I was like, this is a finished copy. Like, it's not an ARC, right? Like, it's a finished, published, out there to buy copy. Like, did nobody proofread this? Saved the best for last. I highly, highly recommend reading this book if you haven't. It is my only go get this book now during the month of September. Another cheap city find for $6.50, The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. It is so, so, so good. It is pretty thin. It's a pretty thin thriller. It is dark and disturbing. It centers around this murder that happened with our main character around when he was little. Sorry. I was trying to multitask. It's like a little over 275 pages. So very thin, a very quick read. But yeah, so the protagonist is an older man, but it goes from past and present point of views, okay? And the past being when he was a kid, which has like Stranger Things kind of vibes, like him and his group of friends. It just like, I don't know, it reminded me of like watching the first couple seasons of Stranger Things, like all of them on their bikes, going on adventures. There's only like one girl in the group. I haven't watched the later seasons of Stranger Things, or actually just the most recent I still haven't watched. But anyways, it felt like the initial seasons of Stranger Things vibes in the beginning. Not the sci-fi route though, just the like him and his friends. But basically this horrific murder happens in the beginning of the book. And then the book is just like past and present, like they never really like found the killer for it, and then they're like trying to, I don't know, like the killer is possibly coming back, and he's like leaving these chalk men everywhere. Guys, it is good. I will say it's not for the faint of heart. It is very disturbing. There are some very graphic scenes, but if you can stomach the Chestnut Man or the Whisper Man, similar to this title, then you'll be fine with this. It is not for the faint of heart though, but it is a fantastic thriller. So this is my one. If you haven't bought it, get it. It's perfect for like Halloween because it's kind of spooky, like killer vibes, you know? Loved it. Loved it. Definitely hands down like top 10 books I've read this year. So I can't believe I'm going to be filming that video in like 2 months time. My favorite video to film all year is my like top 10 favorite books. Anyways, my friends, that wraps up my September books that I read. And I have so many great ones that I am planning on reading for October. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and let's chat on Instagram or in the comments here, or I'm not the best at checking Goodreads, but I always still link it for you there. But I'm definitely better at chatting on Instagram or in the comments here. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.